You are building automation workflows, but your prompts, are they still stuck in 2022? In this video, I'm going to help you fix it. We used to build systems using code, and the quality of the systems was determined by the quality of the code. But today, something fundamental has changed. The AI agents of tomorrow are going to be driven by the prompts. The quality of your prompts will decide if they get any kind of work done or just get stuck into a loop of doom. We all have typed simple questions to our chatbots. But when you need consistent, reliable, structured, and creative results for your complex automations, then basic prompting won't cut it. I have been building complex automations in N8N. I think you probably know that by now. And honestly, I started noticing something missing. The workflows were, but the output was sometimes off. That is when I started looking into the prompt engine. So I went deep down into the rabbit hole. I read the prompt report, a 80-page written by the world's best AI engineers, and a comprehensive guide to writing effective prompts, and paired that with the insights from the Google's latest prompt engineering white paper. What I discovered has completely changed how I think about building automations. In the next 20 minutes, I'm going to break down everything that I have learned, from prompt structure to various tips to improve your prompt writing. And stick around, because I will show you a tool that makes designing and managing these advanced prompts much easier with very cool UI. So let's get started. Are your AI automation workflows working sometimes but failing other times? Or are they producing the desired output sometimes but not the other times? In your prompt, you might have asked a question to a chatbot that you want answer to a certain query, but still you're not getting the output that is needed for your automation workflow to run very smoothly. Are your automation workflows failing when they face some complex scenarios, but you might not have addressed those scenarios within your prompts? I can give you a very simple exercise to understand why your AI automation workflows are failing. Pause this video and go check your prompts. If they are producing the consistent output, you have control over your output, and they are ready to handle the complex scenarios that your automation workflows are working on. If your LLM is not producing the consistent output, sometimes it's producing the good output, sometimes it's producing the bad output, then your prompt has an issue with consistency. If the output produced from your LLMs is not following any format, does not have any length specific, and produces output in different structures, then you don't have a control over your output. And that can be fixed by making some tweaks to your prompts. Are your automations facing some complex tasks but which the LLMs are not able to handle? Then your prompt has an issue with handling the complexity. With the help of your prompt, you can guide AI to handle the complexities. So all in all, if your automations have prompts which are facing any of these issues or all of it, then it's like you have written a script which works in very specific scenarios and is not able to handle any different scenario. But if your automation desires reliability and good performance, then you need to consider your prompts as a system which are reliable, have a defined structure, and should not fail. If it fails, there should be ways to handle those failure scenarios. I was a software engineer for almost a decade, where I used to build systems. And for that, I used to write a lot of code. For making sure that system is reliable, performant, I needed to write the good quality code, the code that has a structure, that does not fail. Or if it fails, there must be ways to handle those failures. Very similarly, to improve the prompts for language models is prompt engineering. To understand the advanced techniques of prompt engineering, I'm going to use slides with some example prompt. Let's see how a prompt looks, how internet works. This is a very basic kind of a prompt, almost very similar to the Google search query. Now, when we enter this kind of a prompt to a LLM, we may get the response that we are looking for, but it could definitely miss the mark by a large mile. Because think of it this way, the answer to how internet works can be very, very different for a 5-year-old versus a software engineer. A 5-year-old, for out of just curiosity, is trying to understand how internet. He wants an answer in a very layman and very simple term. But a software engineer trying to understand how internet works want the answer in a more technical depth, understanding the various components and how they connect with each other. So we can use various prompt engineering techniques, improve the output of the LLM. One technique for prompt engineering is role. We can assign role to the model or we can give it a person. For example, in this prompt, we have asked model to give an answer to a 5-year-old child, acting as a super patient and friendly teacher. So from this prompt, we are expecting the output to be a very simple and a layman. But we can also ask LLM to act as a software engineer. So it can dive into the more technical depth, give us more nuanced, information rich answers. And to refine the structure of the output, ask the model to give the output following a certain structure. For example, in this prompt, which is about 3-day beach weekend trip, and we want to know the clothings, the toiletries, and the beach care. So the response from this prompt is going to be structured under these subheadings, and we will get what we want. The prompt engineering technique, which is very popular, and it is so effective that it has even influenced the next level of architectures of which are called reasoning models. And this technique is chain of thought prompt, where we are asking LLM to not give us answer in one single, but give us an answer, think about your answer, and then refine your answer in the second step, and then think about this answer and then refine it further. This technique actually increases the model's intelligence and reasoning capability. And if you want to solve a very complex problem which is very difficult to solve in a one go, for example, various mathematical equations and so on. And in this example where we are asking LLM to suggest us Saturday outings with family, and we have given it various criteria that it is it is a combination of adult and kids, and we prefer parks or ice cream. So the model has to do a lot of elimination of various options that it will find. For example, it may think of zoo as a Saturday outing trip. So to solve a very complex problem in this prompt, where we have asked LLM to suggest us an affordable Saturday outing trip, but we have also given it various constraints. It is a mix of adult and kids, and it should be in my local area, and it should be a park, and so the model has to do a lot of elimination. If it will only consider the affordable Saturday outing option, which may not be in the local area, which may not be a park. So in the next step, model can eliminate those other options which are not falling in these criteria. After 3 or 4 steps only, we would be getting the answers that we are looking for. In our prompt itself, we can model the kind of a input that we will be giving to us and the kind of output we are expecting. And that is also called in context learning. And there are various ways of doing it. It's 0 shot, 1 shot. So based on of examples, we define it if it's a 0 shot, 1 shot. Or when we don't give an example, then it becomes 0 shot. And in this case, we have 2 examples. So it's a few shot prompt, few shot learning prompt. But if we have just given it 1 example, then it becomes 1 shot. So in this prompt, we have given LLM with 2 examples, and we are asking LLM to convert an informal message into a formal one. But the formal tone varies. For example, a formal tone for a versus an email versus a report will be very different. So by giving LLM an example or 2, we are telling it what kind of formal tone it has to follow. Here, hey, you free Friday? And LLM must respond as, hello, are you available this Friday? So this looks more like a conversational tone, which will be a good fit for a email message. So using this few shot learning, we are training model that what kind of inputs. We can also use this technique for data labeling. For every fruit, give me a color. Apple, red. Grapes, green. Banana, yellow, and so on. For these kind of data labeling tasks, it's very important to give the LLM various examples which are very different from each other. So the LLM can understand the range of inputs and outputs, and especially for sentiment analysis, where you are not analyzing the standard sentiments for sad or happy. We have to give various examples to the LLM so that it can understand the nuanced outputs that you're expecting. We can also improve the LLM outputs by constraining it to not give us certain kind of responses. And this technique is used by a lot of LLM companies to safety align their models. For example, in their system prompt, they will tell the LLM to never produce an output which can harm someone or which can be used to prepare a bomb and so on. For example, in this prompt, we have asked LLM to suggest us creative and fun theme for a child's 7th birthday party. And we have also told model that we don't want it to be a superhero or a cartoon character. If you're a beginner and trying to learn something completely from scratch, then you may want to divide the task into the smaller subtasks first so that you can learn those, and then finally when you are ready, you can combine all of those subtasks to do the complete task. And that is where this decompositioning comes in hand. For example, in this prompt, we are asking LLM to break down the process of baking a simple bread into 5 to 7 main easy to follow steps. Because if I don't know how to bake the bread at all, then I have to first learn how to preheat the oven, how to prepare the dough, and all the various things. So I don't want LLM to give me the entire recipe which I will follow, because I may not do a certain step properly and the whole process will fail. So instead, I want LLM to first tell me, in order to bake a simple bread, what are the other things which I need to learn for any product, be it a movie or a book. Critiques and reviews play a very important role to fine tune it so it is suited better for the audience. Similarly, to our LLMs, we can ask them, after they give us the output, they must critique it themselves to understand if it is up to the standard that we want the output to. For example, in this case, where we have asked LLM to give us a short announcement for a community potluck. Potluck this Saturday 6 p.m. Bring food. And we are asking LLM to review this, that it should sound more welcoming. So after the LLM has produced its output, it also has to review it and measure it against the expected outcome. And if it does not matches it, it has to refine it further. So this way we can nudge the LLM output. So this is one more way to improve the quality of the LLM output. While building automation systems, we have to chain our prompts one after another, and that is called prompt pipeline. And there are couple of it. One is retrieval augmented generation, where we ask LLM to find the answer of our query buried in a very large text body, blood report, and so on. And often this kind of system requires a bunch of prompts chained together, so that forms a prompt pipeline. And another one is React, reason act loop. This can give LLM an independent characteristic where LLM will first reason and then it can take action calling tool or functions, and then the output produced from that, it can reason over that again, and then it can again perform another action, and so on. And it can keep doing it for eternity. While using these prompt engineering techniques, there are also various tips. You can combine multiple techniques, chain of thought with negative constraints or structured outputs. You can also use Markdown to give your prompt a certain structure, and LLMs are very good at understanding these, and they will produce a better output. You can use logical blocks where it is needed, for example, start of something or end of something. You can also use variables in your prompt, which will remove the duplicates, and also it will make it more reusable, and that will help you build better AI and automation. After learning all the advanced prompt engineering techniques and various tips, let's put everything into the practice. I'm going to use a tool, Prompt Engineering Workbench, to build a prompt that utilizes various techniques that we have just discussed. Starting with the role, I'm going to drag the role/persona node onto my canvas, and I'm going to assign a role for it. After that, I'm going to give it some instructions, and for that, I'm going to use the directive node. Next, I will add a variable using the user input node. Since the report could be very complex, I want it to think with the chain of thought reasoning. I'm adding a chain of thought trigger node. I also want the output in JSON structure. I'm going to use the output format node and select JSON. And I'm going to add an example for the JSON. Then I'm going to add a negative constraint. For that, I'll use another directive with constraint. And let me quickly connect all the nodes. And finally, I'm going to add an output node, which is tell the end of the prompt. And I'll click on generate prompt. I have received a prompt and a prompt quality score. First, let's see our prompt. Act as an expert financial analysis. Analyze the provided complete earnings transcript. Report transcript as a variable. Let's think step by step. Format the output as a valid JSON object. Ensure all keys and strings values are enclosed in double quotes. Example, risks, opportunities. Avoid making future stock price prediction. So this prompt has all of the techniques that we have discussed in this video, and I have added those with the help of the notes present in prompt engineering workbench. And below I have received a quality score, and it is 80 out of 100, which is not bad, but let's see if we can improve it further. So I'll click on show suggestions, and here we have few suggestions that we can improve upon. First one is consider adding length constraints. So let's do that quickly. Within the constraint node, I am going to add one more line, and let's click on generate prompt again, and we can see the prompt quality score has improved. Let's work on another suggestions. If the output style matters, specify the desired tone, and for that I'm going to use the style tone node and simply drag and drop it on the canvas, remove my final connection, and instead add a connection to the style node, and then finally the style will be the last node in our chain, and click on generate prompt again. So we have got 100 out of 100 prompt quality score. And now let's see this final prompt. So this is the final prompt. Act as an expert financial analyst. Analyze a provided company earnings transcript. Report transcript as a variable. Let's think step by step. Format the output as a valid JSON object. Ensure all keys and string values are enclosed in double quotes. Example, risks, opportunities. Avoid making future stock price prediction. Limit the overall length of the output to 500 words or less. Write in a clear and concise manner. So this prompt utilizes various prompt engineering techniques that we have learnt in this video, and as we have seen in our tool, it scores 100 out of 100 in the prompt quality score. I hope you have really enjoyed using the prompt engineering workbench as much as I have enjoyed building it. And now let's talk about some best practices to improve your prompts. Make sure to add roles, mention tasks, and format your prompts with added constraints so your LLMs what you want them to do. And don't shy away to test your output. Analyze them, measure them against your own benchmarks, and keep refining the individual components of your prompt using a tool, the prompt engineering workbench. In this video, we have discussed various prompt engineering techniques, but every technique is not equally applicable for every automation scenario. So use your own judgment and use the technique that is the best suited for your automation scenarios. And if nothing works, then be explicit. Mention every step in as much depth so the LLMs understand what you want them to do, and use the tools like prompt engineering workbench to make writing the effective prompts much easier. And I'm very happy to announce that I want to make prompt engineering workbench, the tool which I have made with so much effort, to be available for everyone for free, so that everyone can write better prompts and build better AI agents and automation systems. Advanced prompt engineering is a superpower to build better AI agents. And when you go beyond basics and use techniques like role prompting, chain of thought, and structured output, you get better consistency and control from your LLM responses. And if you use the tools prompt engineering workbench, everything becomes much easier. Trust me on that. I want to hear from you. How are you improving your prompt writing skills? Is there any missing feature that you want me to add into the prompt engineering workbench so it becomes much more useful to you? Like this video if you have learned something new. And if you want to follow me on my journey of building this tool, learn AI agents and automation workflows, then subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.